All right, everybody, get ready to ditch the act because today we're diving deep into a topic that's close to a lot of hearts, ditching the fake it till you make it mindset. You know that feeling, right? Like you got to have it all figured out to reach for what you want.
Yeah, that pressure to project an image of, well, basically someone you're not quite yet, that's rough. And it can really take a toll.
Totally. So we're cracking open this idea of owning your expertise with an article from Make Money with Rambrian. And get this, they say fake it till you make it is some of the worst advice out there.
It is terrible advice. It's like, I don't know, building a house on sand, right? It looks okay from a distance, maybe, but it's not going to stand the test of time.
They actually said it's like building a house on a shaky foundation. Cracks are bound to show. So what happens when those cracks start showing in our professional lives? Like, what are the real-world consequences of trying to fake it?
Oh man, where do I even begin? Think about it. You're a client and you sense that someone, maybe a consultant or a freelancer, isn't as experienced as they're pretending to be.
Ouch. Yeah, instant trust breaker.
Right. Or imagine, like, you miss out on actually learning something important because you didn't want to seem like you were a beginner. That hurts.
It does. Okay, so I'm sold. I am SO, ready to ditch the facade. What's the alternative? How do we move away from this fake it pressure?
Well, it all starts with honesty. Honesty with yourself and with the people you work with.
Okay, so being upfront about where we are in our professional journey, not trying to be 10 steps ahead when we've only taken 2.
Exactly. Our source calls this owning your journey. It's not about having all the answers. It's about being committed to growth and being real about where you are on that path.
I like it. I'm sensing a theme here, though, something about being genuine, right? Is it that superpower our source keeps mentioning?
Absolutely. They call it authenticity, and it's more powerful than ever, especially in a world that's, obsessed with perfectly curated online personas.
So less about fitting into some mold of successful entrepreneur or expert creative, more about showing up as ourselves.
Exactly. When you embrace your unique skills and experiences, even the so-called imperfections, that's when you stand out. You become more relatable, more memorable. People connect with that.
I can see that. So instead of this pressure to have it all figured out, it's about showcasing who we are and letting our work, our real work and passion, speak for itself.
100%. And that, my friend, is a breath of fresh air.
It really is. But okay, I got to be honest. There's still a part of me that's a little nervous to just like drop the act.
Oh, I hear you. It's that fear, right? Like, what if people judge us for not having all the answers? What if?
Exactly. What if we just totally bomb? What if we admit we need help?
That vulnerability is scary, but guess what? It's also incredibly powerful, and our source actually addresses this directly.
Oh, do tell, because I'm ready to ditch this fear.
Well, they say that admitting you have areas where you want to grow, things you're still working on, it's not a weakness, it actually shows strength.
Okay, so how do we actually, like, practically put that into action? Because I am so ready to trade in this mask for some genuine confidence.
Well, think of it like this. It starts with taking stock, like a genuine self-assessment, no more sugarcoating.
Oh, I like that. Time to break out the metaphorical notepad and pen.
Mhm.
What are we jotting down first?
First, let's celebrate those wins. What are you really good at? What are those skills and experiences that just, I don't know, light you up? Get those down.
Okay, got my strengths listed out, feeling good. What's next?
All right, now comes the maybe trickier part. Time to make a list of those areas where you want to grow, those still working on it items.
Ooh, getting real with ourselves. I like it. So instead of trying to hide those weaknesses, we're actually calling them out, owning them.
Exactly. Think of it this way. Those so-called weaknesses, they're often just skills you haven't fully developed yet or experiences you haven't had yet. Acknowledging them isn't admitting defeat, it's showing that you're committed to becoming even better.
Okay, that is a much more empowering way to look at it. I'm on board. But how do we actually start, like, owning those growth areas? It's one thing to say, oh, I want to get better at X, but putting it into practice, that's the real challenge, right?
So true. It's like anything else worth doing. It takes effort, consistency, but doesn't have to be this big, overwhelming thing.
Okay, good, because I'm already feeling a little overwhelmed. Haha.
I hear you. Our source had a good tip for this. They said to break down those big, scary goals into smaller, more, I don't know, digestible steps.
Bite-sized pieces.
Yeah.
I like it. So instead of like, I'm going to become a world-renowned speaker, it's I'm going to practice my public speaking skills by.
Yes, exactly. Maybe you volunteer to present at a local event, or you lead a team meeting at work. Find those low-stakes opportunities to practice and build your confidence.
Love it. So it's all about Finding those stepping stones, those smaller wins that eventually lead us to that bigger vision.
You got it. And here's the best part. As you're going through that process, as you're learning and growing, don't be afraid to share that journey. Talk about the challenges you're facing, the aha moments.
Ooh, I like that.
Mm,
Not presenting some perfectly polished highlight reel, but really embracing the process, even the messy parts.
yes. And you know what? When you're open and honest about that journey, you might inspire someone else who's struggling with the same things. There's so much power in that vulnerability.
It's true. Just knowing you're not alone in those struggles can make a world of difference. Okay, so we're ditching the fake it mentality. We're embracing authenticity. We're identifying those strengths and those growth areas, and we're actively seeking out those opportunities to learn and evolve. What else can we do to really step into that place of like owning our expertise?
This might sound a little counterintuitive, but it's actually about shifting your focus away from, like, I don't know, self-promotion, and instead focus more on building genuine connections.
Well, interesting. So less about trying to impress everyone with how much we know, how many accomplishments we've racked up, and more about like actually building real relationships. Is that what you mean?
You nailed it. Think about it. Networking isn't about collecting business cards or trying to, climb the ladder. It's about connecting with people on a human level and building those relationships based on mutual respect, shared interests. Remember how we talked about how authenticity resonates?
Absolutely. People can spot a phony a mile away, but when you're genuine, when you're real, that shines through.
Exactly. And those genuine connections, those are the ones that often lead to the most meaningful opportunities.
It's about quality over quantity when it comes to building those relationships, right?
100%. Now, owning your journey and, really showcasing your expertise, it's not just about what you do externally, it's also about like cultivating the right mindset internally.
Ooh, I like where this is going. All right, what kind of mindset shifts are we talking about? What needs to change up there?
It's about the really changing how you view those moments of self-doubt, those imposter syndrome whispers that creep in.
Oh, tell me about it. Those are the worst.
Yeah.
And they always seem to show up at the most inconvenient times.
Don't they there? But here's the thing. We all experience self-doubt. It's totally normal, part of being human. Especially, when you're pushing yourself, stepping outside your comfort zone, trying new things.
So it's not about like completely silencing those voices of self-doubt, but more about changing how we react to them.
Exactly. Instead of letting those doubts paralyze you, what if you looked at them as like a signal to dig deeper, to learn more, to keep pushing forward?
Oh, I love that. So instead of I'm not good enough, becomes I'm still learning and growing, and that's more than okay.
Now you're getting it. Remember, owning your journey isn't about having all the answers right now. It's about being open to the learning process,
Yeah.
being open to the journey itself. And sometimes, that means asking for help along the way.
There's that vulnerability again. It's so powerful to admit that we don't have it all figured out.
Mm.
But how do we balance that with, this idea of owning our expertise?
That's a great question, and it leads us to a really important point. It's about finding that sweet spot, that balance between confidence and humility. Because owning your expertise doesn't mean you're walking around like, I'm the best, I know everything. It's more about, hey, these are my strengths, this is what I bring to the table.
Right.
But also being open to, hey, I'm still learning, still growing. What can you teach me?
Oh, so it's like that growth mindset, right? Like being secure in what we know, but always eager to learn more, to keep getting better at what we do.
Exactly. And it's not always easy. It's a dance for sure. But
Mhm.
when you can really own that space, when you can showcase your expertise while staying humble, it's magnetic. People are drawn to that.
It's like you're saying, this is me, this is what I'm passionate about, and I'm always striving to level up. I love that energy.
Yes. That's the good stuff right there. And honestly, when you're coming from that place of authenticity, the right opportunities will come to you. And more importantly, the right people, the ones who get you, who value what you bring to the table, they'll find you.
Okay, I am so feeling this. This whole conversation has been a breath of fresh air. So as we wrap up this deep dive into owning your expertise, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this? What's the big takeaway?
Ditch the act, my friend. Ditch that fake it till you make it mentality. It's a recipe for burnout, and frankly, it's exhausting. You don't need that. Embrace who you are right now. Be proud of how far you've come and where you are on your journey. And most importantly, never stop learning, never stop growing.
Yes, it's about progress, not perfection.
Absolutely. And hey, here's a little something to think about, maybe journal on later. What's one small action you can take today to really step into that authentic version of yourself? To let your brilliance shine through.
Ooh, I like that. That's a powerful question to sit with. Thank you so much for joining us for this incredible deep dive. And remember, listeners, your journey is yours to own. Embrace it, learn from it, and watch how amazing things become when you just show up as you. Until next time, keep shining.